If you're planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 213-852-2655.
Okay, some of us are old enough to remember what a rock band had to do in former days to upset parents. And it really wasn't very much, right? I mean, the Beatles, when they first came out, had long hair. It wasn't really much longer than yours, Gordon. I'm not kidding. It was not long hair, and they were apoplectic.
You know, talking about that and how people look and their, you know, perception and the way people look at you and go, my God. But you know what? I look back, seriously, I look back at the early Brady Bunch days. I look like the Antichrist. That hair and the skirts and the platforms, right?
We went through some of the things over the course of time. Now, in 1956, when Elvis went on Ed Sullivan, they wouldn't show him below the waist.
Right,
Do you know this? I mean, this was history.
Yeah, I remember it.
Because that would upset, I guess, America. In 1967, Mick Jagger went on with the Rolling Stones. Ed Sullivan couldn't sing the lyrics, "Let's spend the night together." He had to change it to "Let's spend some time together." And I think along the way, if you put what the rock groups were prohibited from doing with what kids were doing, there is a difference. I mean, in 1956, when that was what pushed the envelope, the troubles in the school were chewing gum and patent leather shoes that could see up a skirt.
But Bill, I was the
Today,
yeah,
they're throwing babies out with the bathwater, literally. Now, isn't there a connection there?
Well, I think if parents spent more time trying to censor rock music and art and movies and things like that, and they spent the time teaching their kids to appreciate and understand those things and to know what's right and what's wrong, I think that's more time spent, more valuable.
It's less about Marilyn, but more about the hundreds of thousands of young people. What motivates them to go out, not just him, but, you know, Ozzy Osbourne in the 70s, he was real big. What motivates them to go out and buy a quote-unquote, you know, so-called demon-possessed young man's album?
But Nikita, more importantly, what possesses him to go out on stage?
No, but see, that's the whole thing. If there were no crowd, if there was no market, you know, he would be out of business. If there weren't people buying his records, making it platinum, and we have to see what's in the psyche of America.
Jordan wants to break in, so to speak.
I want to break in, so to speak.
Break in.
The drift of this conversation seems to be, at least what I seem to get from you, is a question is Manson and others, are they responsible for the kind of society we have today? And I think that that is absolutely backwards. We have a society today without reference to Manson here, in which it is perfectly permitted, and it happens thousands of times, you know, throughout the year, when they take a viable baby from a mother, all the way except for the top of the head, shove a scissors through the base of its skull and suck out its brains, and you're complaining about him.
I'm not complaining about him.
Also,
like
think about this. What if you want to blame rock music for things? Think about what the Bible's done. What about Heaven's Gate or Jim Jones or the Ku Klux Klan?
Right.
What they do in the name of Christ?
They totally defy the Bible.
Yeah, but,
the Bible says if you love God and hate your brother, you're a liar and God is not in you. Obviously, you have not read that.
No, I've read the Bible. I'm just saying what people do in the name of the Bible
is a liar and God isn't in him. So, you know, if we're going to quote the Bible, you complain that people take you out of context. Don't take the Bible out of context.
Oh, but
because the majority of people
I'm not taking the Bible out of context.
Let alone do it.
He is not taking the Bible out of context. He is taking Friedrich Nietzsche out of context. That's what he's taking out of context.
But the Bible certainly has been the inspiration for an amazing amount of un-Bible-like activity.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
And there's been more un-Bible-like activity. Look at our century. Look at the 20th century. You know, all of the mass murders and killings, more people have been murdered outside of the name of religion than have been in the name of religion in this century. That wasn't just in the New York Times a year ago.
And that's your big claim to fame?
No, it's not. But why does everybody want to put the tag on, you know, oh, the Bible is evil, or we need to question
No, I'm not saying that. I like the Bible.
that.
I'm just saying I don't like the way people misuse it just as much as people could misuse
Then if you like
music.
it, then be the standard and do it. That's the problem.
I like it as a book,
the
just like I
majority
like the
of people
Cat in the Hat.
say there's something and they're not. They say there's something and they're not.
I'm sorry. Okay, now, turnabout is fair play. We've been talking about Marilyn Manson and his responsibility to society and so forth. Now, you also have a record out. And I have the lyrics to one of your songs, which I think is more irresponsible than anything on one of his records. Because
Well, shoot, go ahead.
Yes, it says, it talks about condoms. And it says, like the condoms, we sell them, but we won't tell them. It ain't safe, even if you got them. So you're telling kids it ain't...
That's not what it says.
That's what the lyrics
Well,
is.
see, it's
Don't you
rap,
know
I
they
don't
got
think you
holes?
listen.
It says, don't you know they got holes you can't see? They might stop a baby,
but
it
what
hardly
about...
stops VD.
That's right. That is correct.
That's
Condoms were never
not correct.
That is correct. You need to do your homework. You check the Centers for Disease Control. You check the Centers for Disease Control.
You're
When I
telling...
testified before the Senate in Washington, D.C.,
Were they
as the
there?
Surgeon General, when I testified, it was true. Condoms were never designed to prevent people from getting anything except for pregnant. And we encourage people to use them to stop STDs. There are at least over 50 STDs, counting all the different strains that are out there. 20 of them, at least 20 of them, a condom really can't help you with. Condoms don't care.
How can it stop what stops pregnancy without stopping everything else?
Because the HIV virus is about 450 times smaller than a sperm cell.
And
if we
warts.
magnify that,
What about warts?
that's about the size of a football field, would be the size
So
of
what
one
you're
sperm
telling
cell
horny
and a football
teenagers is the
size
only
of a
thing that you
football.
can do is be abstinent. And condoms don't work. So kids are not going to use condoms because they're going to listen to you and figure, well, why should we even use condoms? And that, to me, is irresponsible.
No,
No
it's not.
sex
It's
equals
responsible because I'm
violence.
telling them the truth.
No sex
And we haven't
equals
told people
violence?
the
No,
truth.
you're making an
We haven't
irresponsible
told
Suppression
people
of
the truth.
sex throughout history that's made people so violent, I think.
No, wait a minute.
That is the
because they have-
stupidest
You're
thing
making
I've
the
ever heard.
Well, if you feel guilty, if you're feeling guilty about having
I've
sex,
never known anyone who
everybody wants to have
who
sex.
got
The world
pregnant.
is created through sex.
The irresponsible
Yes,
assumption
this is true, and God
the
said
one
be
that you
fruitful and
made is that
multiply.
teenage children are going to have sex no matter what. That's not necessarily true at all.
No, it's not.
Oh, Gordon.
It's not. You know what?
I had a lot of teenage companions when I was a teenager.
Really?
And they were not all running around getting laid.
But he was also in prison, so he's got a different, outlook.
But I wasn't as good looking as
whatever.
you are.
As far as being responsible, I take full responsibility for every word that I speak when I go out and I
Well-
speak to thousands of young people.
Well, this is going...
And on top of that, I'm encouraging them to do something that is
You
good.
certainly know how to speak, Lakita. Let me tell you
Well,
that.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask this.
Yeah.
Go.
Let me ask you this. If I don't get laid, can I sue her because of her lyrics?
No, because I don't have anything. I don't have for anything you get. But I would invite you to come out and hang with me and some of my friends sometime.
We can do a show together.
I'd like to.
I'm open-minded. I don't protest Sunday schools or anything.
I would love to have dinner and just shoot the
Okay.
breeze with you.
But aren't you,
All right,
Lakita,
today.
aren't you hoping
And then
that
you can
you're...
be with Ted Kennedy one night. I'm sorry.
No, aren't you hoping that your CD makes a lot of money, just like Marilyn hopes that he does? Isn't that what it's about?
No, it's not.
Be with Michael
What is it
Kennedy.
about?
He knows
Because
what the
I've
younger
turned
women
down more jobs than I have ever. I've turned down more jobs than I have ever worked because of I will not expose my body, or I won't use foul language, or I won't spread my legs for just any old Joe that comes around. I have a standard that I live up to, and you know I'm very frank. I'm up front. I'm very honest about what I believe.
I hope that you will always be able to live like that.
Well, you know what? I think we should encourage other
I
young
hope you
people
don't
to
have
do that
many
as well.
challenges in life.
I have very many challenges in
Do
life.
you?
Yes, and I would like to come. I'd like for you to come to dinner with me and
No,
learn
I
what
think
the
it's
challenges are
admirable
that I
to
face.
be. It's very
And you can pick
admirable
up
to
the
be
tab.
idealistic. You know, but I want people to think, but I'm not trying to think I can save the world. You know, maybe the
You
world doesn't
can't save the
deserve to
world
be
'cause you're
saved.
not Christ.
Maybe they only deserve to be
Oh,
entertained
now, wait
before
a
they're all
second.
destroyed.
You can't judge
couldn't
who's
agree
Christ
more.
and who isn't. He may have more Christ in him than you do. You can't really say that.
You will know a tree.
And that's from Mrs. Brady.
You will know a tree.
All right, we got to
by
take a break,
looking at
everyone.